All right, welcome back. Well, of course, yeah, we're going to be taking a lot more responses from Nigerians in terms of where you are, how you are, what you're grappling with this petrol situation in the country. We cannot afford to keep quiet. If they think it's going to blow away, they've got another thing coming, because this is unacceptable, to say the least. If you're in positions, you have to speak to the people. The people. That's why you are there in the first place. Well, we've got Mr. Garba Omar here with us this morning. He's the Vice President of Interpol Africa Executive Committee. He's not in charge of petrol. So, good morning, Mr. Omar. Good to see you.
Thank you, Chamberlain. You are quite right. I'm not in charge of petrol. I deal with about transnational crime.
Okay, so, you know, it's actually good to have you on, because I know your schedule is pretty tight, because ever since these questions about the Binance executive that escaped and several other scenarios about ensuring that things are done, putting people on the watch lists, for which we have read about here, some of the trials ongoing, Interpol plays a key role. But, you know, there are quite a few people who actually think, well, Interpol, okay, well, maybe a high-sounding word. Do they really make impact in this country in terms of the activities? Could you start by giving us a broad perspective of how your operations impact us positively here?
As you are aware, Interpol is an international criminal police organization that has 196 members, and Nigeria is a member since 1960. And the work of Interpol is to assist law enforcement agencies across the globe so that they can perform their job, effectively. And my Interpol work is to house all the data of criminal data, such as we have 19 databases. If there is issue of stolen properties, stolen and lost documents, and if there is some issue of fraud, issues that relate to transnational crime, proliferation of light and small arms. We have the biometrics, collected from 196 countries. And these are housed in one database that is shared among all the 96 countries, which they call NCB. Each country has an NCB, meaning National Central Bureau. And the National Central Bureau link all other law enforcement agencies in that country so that they can assist them to perform their job effectively. And Chamberlain, you should know that Interpol is the largest organization in the world, having 196 countries, bigger than the United Nations. That is how we work.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting, but I know I'm just going to jump right to this one. It's a big question, which we've been trying to get hold of you for a while, to talk to us about this fugitive, this Binance fugitive, Anjarwalla Nadeem, who escaped this country. Many were of the opinion that as soon as they heard that he had escaped, they were thinking, oh, not to worry. If they say we've informed Interpol, Interpol would nab him as soon as he's coming down from the aircraft, wherever he went to, and then get him back to Nigeria to answer questions. Tell us about this. What happened at that point? What was Interpol's role? Were you informed? What did you do?
As soon as he escaped, the Interpol was informed officially, and we put our we go into action. Number one, what we did was to contact all possible exit points of such fugitive, and to get data on him, to get all the information about him, and share among the 196 countries. And we're able to follow him, able to know where he's going. And the end, he landed in a particular country. And we're doing everything possible to make sure that the country comply with the Interpol's rules of international police cooperation by doing the processes of extraditing him to come and face justice in Nigeria. And don't forget, as soon as this individual escaped, there was a massive manhunt for this individual. And then many countries that we believed he must have boarded a plane or go by road to another place, we contacted them and we got some certain information which is not possible for me to share on this platform. But be rest assured, we located where he was, how he boarded, all the information about him, and where he was going, and how he landed, and where we pass information to the next country. We have done that to make sure that he doesn't escape justice. But you should be aware, for every country there is a law. If a fugitive escapes, there are processes in which that country will follow. Interpol will only give information to assist that country, to inform them about the bilateral agreement and the MOU and the signature of conventions that were signed to extradite a fleeing fugitive. And the process is ongoing. And Nadim is not an exception. And be rest assured, we have all the cooperation and we're working on it. And definitely, one day, he will be brought to justice. Just it's a matter of time. We have done all the paperwork. All the law enforcement agencies, they have done the paperwork. They have handed over to the Interpol. And the Interpol, we are working on it. In fact, one of the important aspects of this meeting that we are having the 10th working group on cybercrime is the manifestation of what we have been doing at the organization. Because 49 countries from Africa and beyond are in attendance. What is the essence? Transnational crime, bordering on cybercrime and related crimes such as this. What are the partnership between one country and the other? How do we harness? And all the countries involved, they must comply with the article of the regulation of the Interpol.
Indeed, I was just about to come to that conference which you held yesterday here in Abuja. And first and foremost, I know my colleague, you already told my colleague you're not in charge of petrol. But sometimes I know that as a Nigerian, you must feel quite a bit embarrassed as to, you know, when you are receiving visitors, and this is the current situation that your fellow citizens are facing in the country. Queues at filling stations, people selling petrol in jerry cans along the highway and all. I mean, sometimes, how do you feel?
You know, situation permits things. I came in yesterday morning. I arrived in the morning and I went because I was in Interpol headquarters with the Inspector General of Police for another meeting of all the regional chiefs of police in Lyon. We invited all the regional chiefs of police to discuss transnational crime and then give them assistance in terms of the tools and services, the capabilities of Interpol. We are all together, and I arrived yesterday morning. I wouldn't say probably because it was early morning and I went in, and those who arrived, they arrived before me. So I don't know the kind of problems there. Probably when I go out today, Mark, the next time I'll give you a story about the hardship. But for me, I've not.
Yeah, well, I was not asking really about whether you're facing it. It was really just about, you know, the perception of a country, you know, when you have visitors coming in and, you know, maybe we're just facing a tough moment at that particular point in time. It really sometimes can be a bit embarrassing. But I mean, let's get on to what it is that you call them into the country for, which is cybercrime. Another big danger, it would seem, that countries now have to deal with as a result of a lot of transactions going on online. How big a threat is this issue of cybercrimes to different countries, and how do you think that Interpol can collaborate better to make that particular space, the cyberspace, a lot safer for people who use it?
Marco, you are right. It's worrisome when we're talking about cybercrime. Yeah, for every child, I've been seeing it in an article or either media, or you know, who are young boys. When you ask them, "What are you going to do?" He will tell you, "I want to become a Yahoo boy." You know, this is worrisome. I don't know. I think this issue should start from home. Right from the beginning, from primary school, from the home, you know, to dissuade children to make them, I don't know, the technology is good, but at times it comes with the consequences. And these consequences can be, you know, mitigated by bringing in morality in it, you know. This is worrisome, honestly. But the Interpol, on its part, we have been doing, I happen to be the chairman of the technology of Interpol, and we are bringing the AI. We're the first to introduce the metaverse, and the metaverse, help in the, about the artificial intelligence. And we are doing a lot to assist law enforcement agencies across the globe to make sure that fighting cybercrime is #1 priority, and to give them all the tools and services, the modern tools and services to detect. And that is why the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria established the state-of-the-art cybercrime center run by the Nigerian Police Force. And you are aware that the law governing cybercrime has been first. We are, even the issue of data laws have been enhanced. These are some of the things that we do. We, on our part, we try to help countries. We have the best 2 cybercrime centers, one in Rwanda, and then one in Nigeria, and they are all in the sophisticated center. And we have done a lot, quite a lot. Initially, Chamberlain was asking me, how do we issue of fugitive? You remember there are a lot of fugitive that we brought back. They run out of Nigeria. A typical example, and we got conviction. EFCC approached us about minor. We went after him. We went to another country. We got him and brought him back. And there are others, Nigerians, that committed offense and they are taken back. And there are others from other countries that committed offense. We brought them back. So a lot of this, is an issue of trust. And the Interpol is an international organization that is well respected. We are not the investigators. Interpol do not investigate cases. Rather, they brought cases to them, they analyze it and help law enforcement agencies. But when you want to extradite, it has to be done by the Interpol. We go in, we give the law, the regulation, the article, and then we use it with the international warrant of arrest issued by competent court of law to bring you back to face justice. That is what we do. And we have been doing that, and believe you me, successes are recorded in this area. And we are working on this cybercrime. That's why we insisted that the cybercrime meeting, the conference should come to Nigeria. And this is where we are. 49 countries out of 56 that we have in this continent are here. And we have other 8 independent, association, United, UNDC and other, they are all here. European Union, they are all participants in this. What is it? To fight cybercrime. What is it? Prosecution. What is
interesting. Yes. You've spoken, sir, about the introduction of AI into being able to fight cybercrime. But we know that AI is now something that is used in many other spheres. Even the people who are perpetrating fraud and even committing these crimes are also adopting AI in their own trade, if I may call it that as well. And I'm just wondering, how does it complicate the issues that you face with, dealing with cybercrime? I know that you have also spoken about introducing AI, but does it make it a little more complex? Are you able to identify when artificial intelligence is deployed in the commission of a crime?
You are right, Mape. I just want to inform you that, you see, the bad guys on the other side, they are also advanced. So is Interpol. We have experts all over our NCPs and headquarters, our regional headquarters, that are being trained professionally. And Africa is not an exception. You need to, one of these days, I will just ask you to do a kind of visit to the cybercrime center. You will see the kind of officers that are trained to meet these challenges of AI. They are well-equipped, trained, professional, certificated internationally. We have them. When we train them, we make sure that they can do the work. So, of course, artificial intelligence has its consequences. But believe you me, what we are doing is to make sure that we have the mitigation to fight those guys at the other side of the coin.
Well, I know that you also mentioned just while you were talking about Yahoo boys. We used to have quite a bit of success in fighting this menace. As a matter of fact, some people will argue that what it is that we're currently facing with 419 and that sort of crime. It looks like it's another wave. There was a first wave in the early days, just before the EFCC was introduced. After the EFCC was introduced, it did appear that there was a calm down in that sort of crime. But it does appear that now it's on the increase. Young people are taking to it in droves. And it doesn't appear that, we're able to really put a lead on it. What do you think needs to be done to discourage young people, and even the not so young, from participating in crimes like this?
Well, I used to believe in the saying that idle mind is a devil mind, but my devil workshop or whatever. But I don't think now, because even when you are well contented, your parents, they have given you everything that they can, they support you in your education, but these guys, they have another version for this. I don't understand. But I agree with you in draws. I use that. I love that word you use. They have quite a number. No matter what we are doing, if you look at the statistics of EFCC, what they have done in terms of these Yahoo boys, almost on a daily basis, hundreds arrested, prosecuted, they still come back. So we have to go back to the drawing board. The Interpol has the capabilities and the solutions to all these to assist law enforcement agencies, but there must be laws and there must be certain procedure from the institution or from a country to ensure that such things are being controlled at the grassroots, at the primary level, before it is transformed into a secondary level where we cannot or we find it difficult to deal with. And it has to be from the government, institutions, communities, societies, religious leaders, everyone must be involved in this. And that is the only way we can have peace in this country. But the issue of eradicating completely these guys is going to take a longer time, but we can minimize it by certain things that I've just mentioned if we follow the protocol of that.
You speak about the laws. Could you give us an idea? Because chances are that most times countries usually are grappling with adjusting to tackling some of these evolving cases. This gives you an opportunity, this meeting, to evaluate your chances, your strategies. Where can you say we are now in our quest to get ahead of some of these criminals? I know the NBA had a conference, no, not the NBA, the AGF organized something about judiciary, and you speak about the laws. What do we need to do? What gaps do we need to close to get ahead?
You see, if you look at the criminal justice administration, it has provided for all this. But unfortunately, things. I'm an international police officer. I try to restrict my views based on an international standard. Even though I'm by virtue of my position, I have every right to comment in my country, in Africa, in other parts of the world. But I think we need to strengthen our laws. We need to strengthen our laws, and those who are in charge of enforcement of such law should also be strict. And they're not only strict, they should be also truthful in the enforcement of such laws.
So are we making progress then? The kind of progress that you want to see, or we can do way better?
Well, we're moving, but the progress is also fine. But believe you me, we need to do more. And when we do more, everyone will say it clearly. Myself, Chamberlain, Makwe, everyone, they will all see it. But the worrisome is because why are you complaining? Why are you saying it, Mr. Chamberlain? Is because you have not seen concrete things on the ground, and that is the fact. When you see it, you will say, "Oh no, we're doing well." You can't pass. You don't give a pass mark on things that.
I know that the country, a lot of citizens keep on asking the question: why is it difficult for this country to nab some of these terrorist gangs, terrorist financiers, And I know that Interpol, some time ago, there were some gangs that they arrested involving some Nigerians, a certain group, and different terrorism financiers. So what has Interpol done to assist Nigeria in nabbing some of these terrorist financiers?
You must have heard that some last year or during the last administration, towards the tail end, certain individuals were arrested, gathered together, who are believed to have financed terrorists. And terrorist financing entails not only the Interpol, it is the work of all law enforcement agencies, especially the National Financial Intelligence Unit that controls, that have a link with our international organizations, such as organization that gives information about illicit funds that have been sent to terrorist organizations. And Interpol has database in which all law enforcement agencies, they have the ability to go in to inquire about an individual or group of individuals that are believed to be terrorist financiers. The fact we have, that is foreign active terrorist fighters, they are all across the globe because our borders are porous, they have the means of movement of their money and so on. And we are doing everything on our part. Like we are extending the I-247 facility, which is the database, and we have the mine devices, that is the mobile mine devices that you can use to check active terrorist fighters. You remember what we did more, we have large number of terrorists that were convicted and sent to prison in Kuje. When they escaped, before they escaped, we took it upon ourselves to go there to take the biometrics of all the inmates there, all except with the political inmates, active terrorist fighters, all crimes. We captured them all and we uploaded into the global database of Interpol. And that was why when they escaped, we were able to issue blue notices in order to go after them and get them apprehended. So these are some of the things that we do to assist law enforcement agencies in making sure that nobody escapes. Even if you do escape, we look after you, and you hide, we smoke you out. And why do we say we smoke you out? Is every country is shared with their biometrics and the same. And these guys that are financing terrorists, we look at their money, we look at the inflow. Once we are informed this is it, we go after them. And for your information, millions of dollars were recovered by Interpol globally. And that is why we established also what we call IFCAC. IFCAC is another anti-corruption and financial body headed by a Nigerian. For the first time, is a director. We were able to send a director at the highest decision level making body of the Interpol. Through our network, we were able to establish that new outfit. And then we are now issuing what we call silver notice. Silver notices is the money that you have taken away or the money that you have used to finance terrorists. We go after you, we recover the money. And this is what we have been doing, and it's making a success. Chamberlain, we are doing a lot. It's just that, Interpol is a global body. It doesn't talk, it doesn't say much, but law enforcement agencies that have been that have benefited from the tools and services and the capabilities of Interpol, they know what we have been doing. And we are Nigeria is a typical example of the transformation in the fight against crime and criminality, especially transnational crime.
It is very comforting to hear you say that the people who, that you had taken all of the biometric fingerprints, et cetera, of the inmates in Kuje, you had taken it upon yourself before that particular escape happened. And so it would have been easy for you to be able to help smoke out those people. Is it only for Kuje that you took the biometric, or do you do that generally for other prisons as well?
No, we start, Nigeria has never had this until when I came in, and I said we have to do it. African continent deserve more. We cannot be allowing other members country enjoying the way every Nigeria is a member is like any other country. So when I got involved in the executive committee, I fought for this country, I fought for Africa. I made sure that the benefits of what the capabilities, tools, and services of Interpol I am, member countries benefited from the continent. And we have just started with Kuje. In fact, in my last meeting, day first today in Lyon, I mentioned it to the authority that there is need for us to capture all the other inmates in Nigeria so that we can have not only in Nigerian, African countries, and we are doing that. It's gradually, but for the first time, this is an eye-opener for us, and we are doing that because we won't allow that kind of thing to happen in Nigeria. No, not ever anymore.
One of the things that usually gives people, you know, the source of concern oftentimes in many African countries, Nigeria inclusive, is the professionalism of police officers, of the police force in general. Oftentimes, you know, at the very top, you might get some semblance of professionalism, but when it comes down to the rank and file, you know, there's a lot left to be wanting. And I think at this point, I'm sure you're very aware of the conversations that are currently happening in Nigeria with regards to whether or not state police be introduced and et cetera, et cetera. All of it stemming from the dissatisfaction they're feeling with the arrangement, the security arrangements currently prevailing in the country. How is Interpol, will I say, isolated, or how is Interpol, you know, cocooned from the external factors, or will I say the internal factors of whatever is happening within any police force, despite its membership of Interpol?
Interpol does not only rely or deal with the national police. We are all partners to law enforcement agencies in every member country. The only thing, the bridge, is the Nigerian police that houses the National Central Bureau. Let me give an example. Issue of state police, or there are some countries that operate on state police, local government police, university police, hospital police, media houses police. They are all called police. There are more than 240,000 different police forces in America. 240,000 from local police, hospital police, market police. They are all police. That is their system, and that is how they operate. But where a country operates the national police, we have other law enforcement agencies that we deal with also. The NFIU, we provide them with the database, this database I'm talking about. The immigration, we provided them, we extended them with the database, the same thing that the Nigerian police has. The NDLE, the same thing. The Navy, the same thing. NAPTIP, the same thing. And many other law enforcement agencies, we provide them with database. And this database houses 196 countries' data records, criminal data records. So it's enough for a country to leverage on this so that they can work in harmony, synergy. Because if there is no synergy from all law enforcement agencies in a country, you don't share intelligence, you don't share criminal records, you don't share information, then there is bound to be a massive deficit in the architecture of in the security architecture of your country. So and this is where we are trying to make sure that so all law enforcement agencies within the continent, within the countries, member countries, are fully, given capabilities to perform their job.
As we wind down, there was this story that made the rounds some time ago about the Binance executive, the fugitive, that he was captured, I think, somewhere in Kenya or thereabout. Was there any truth to that? Can you tell us?
I'm not aware, but all I know, and I can tell you, the last destination I know on my record of this guy when he fled was Kenya. That I can confirm to you.
So is it that when the process is over, or at what point, or is there any thinking? Is he going to come to Nigeria where he fled to answer questions? How does that work with Interpol?
Yeah, see, Interpol, once a red notice is issued, we circulate to all member countries within the 196, including where the fugitive is suspected to be hiding. Now, it is not only moral right, but it is legally right for that country to get him apprehended, inform the requesting country that the fugitive you are looking for has been apprehended and is in our custody. Can you come and take him over? This is the process. He may be in Kenya, he may be hiding, he may have even left Kenya, but because of the notices that we have given, wherever he is, he will be smoked out. Until when you come out, if you had, even here in Nigeria, we may have some fugitive. Let me cite an example. Mr. Peter is an Austrian. He was in Nigeria for 26 years. He committed a crime and run to Nigeria, got married in Nigeria, had children, established business, doing well. But because of the red notice that is in, one day he committed an offense, and when we check our record, we discover him, he was repatriated, and he's now in jail in Austria after spending 26 years in Nigeria. And there are some, they will just run. Let me give you an example, like the minor issue. He ran to Niger, and we discover what it is. I flew down to Niger because there is red notice. We showed them, and we said, you must arrest him. And they arrested him and handed him over to us, and I brought him back to Nigeria. These are the kind of things that we do, my brother. This is how it works in Interpol. Interpol assists us, and as soon as we brought him to Nigeria, we hand him over to the investigating authority, that is the EFCC. That is how we work. It's not that Interpol will keep him, will charge him. No. Interpol doesn't go to court. Interpol doesn't do the investigation. Law enforcement agencies in the country do the investigation. I request the assistance of Interpol to intervene in the arrest based on the article of memorandum of understanding.
For instance, now, if the EFCC declares somebody wanted, does that automatically trigger a red notice, or it's up until the commission reaches out to the Interpol, then that happens?
Does not. No, it doesn't work that way. Even if they reach out to us, the first question we'll ask them, what is the offense? Where is the court order from High Court, Federal High Court? There must be a court order asking that person to be arrested. That is what we call international warrant of arrest. That court order alone is what we'll use to issue international warrant of arrest. Without court order specifying the offense, the section of the law that he has committed, the offense that he has committed, the section of the law, and where the offense was committed, there will not be any red notice, and Interpol will not be involved.
All right, we'll have to thank you for talking to us. Garba Omar, AIG, Vice President, Interpol Africa Executive Committee. Thank you for talking to us, and all the best to you.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Nice meeting you.